Hello, 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 and welcome back to FRLT. I hope everybody is having an absolutely great week. This time we return for Tier 1 here on Wednesdays. Once again, yes, we return once again this week. Last week, of course, we had that race at, where was it? Monza, I believe? Was it Monza? I can't remember now. We'll look at the calendar in a minute because I'm stupid. I don't even remember which track we're going to or we've been at. But I do know this week's track, and you'll be quite surprised by this week's track because we are going to none other than China, to the Shanghai circuit. 5.451 kilometers, 3.387 miles, 16 turns, 2 DRS zones, down the pit straight and down that back straight. It's gotten shorter and shorter over the past few years, and that's made all the difference. Here is also the calendar. Here's our Tier 1 calendar. It was Australia. That was it. It was Australia. I got there. I got there in the end, okay? I got there in the end. Yeah, Australia was opening race. Then we're going to be going to China for this week. It's going to be an interesting couple of races to start off the season. Looking at the standings, I don't have any standings for this week again, which is really annoying. I'll have to pull up the standings quick. I do have the standings on me, but again, the graphics haven't been made in time, which is really making me a bit annoyed now. ABE top the standings. They got P1, P3 double podium, 41 points. Pekka second on 31. AMS the third on 14. TGF are fourth with 10. ETE are fifth with 5 points. A TIE with 2. TTRE, HRT, IE, and LR all sit in those bottom 4 for this week. So that's a lot of the stuff. Currently waiting on a couple of drivers, I do believe. We're waiting on a few drivers right now. We will be having 18 tonight by my account. We should be having 18. We should be having 18 drivers tonight, by the way. Just to make it clear, we should be having 18. We've got a few returning drivers this week. Zirconium returns for ETE. Eric also returns this week. Sasoi returns. A legend in league returns. We're supposedly down by one driver. Let me double check who that one driver we are missing is. Somebody is in the wrong car. At the moment, somebody is in the wrong car, as I currently see. Somebody has... Who is Pablo? We do have a driver who currently... So, yeah, that's fixed now. We're still waiting on one driver. We are missing somebody. Who are we missing? We're missing an ET driver. Yes, we're about to get going now. We are now about to get underway for tonight's race. Apologies about the long wait we had. We had a couple of drivers still waiting to get into the lobby, and now that's all been fixed. So that's all sorted now for the rest of the night. Only 17 drivers, by the way. One of the ECE drivers unable to turn up tonight. Unable to turn up, sadly, which is really difficult. We're just about to get into the race. Hello, Tim. Hello, Timon. Welcome. Hello, Travis. Welcome to the stream. Why I'm not showing you the screen is because we're not in yet. But we'll be heading in the next few moments. But as I was saying about the calendar, so we've done Australia, we've done China. Next week will be Singapore on the 11th, and then 1 week before Christmas, exactly 1 week before Christmas, on the 18th, we'll be going to Las Vegas for the final race of 2024 here in FRLT. Then we'll be having, of course, the winter break, followed by then Monza on the 8th of the 1st, Austria, Britain, and then Kota for January's races. And then we'll be having a break week before we finally go to Abu Dhabi and Belgium, the final 2 races of the season over the 12th of the 2nd and 19th of the 2nd. No face cam. Never. No face cam is ever happening. I swear to God, no face cam is ever going to happen in this league. I swear to God, no face cam for myself. You guys will actually be blinded by my ugliness. Like, no joke, you guys will be blinded. Okay. The one time you turn up, because I've been asking you if you want to do comms, one time you turn up is when we're it is when your team's racing. I'm not too fit for the face cam. Please stop. Please stop with this absolute terrorism. This is awful. But yeah, okay. There we go. Now everything's up on the screen. Who's going to be the first driver to come out tonight? By the way, I was yawning there, so I wasn't just being completely silent, not thinking of anything. I was yawning. Who's going to come out first? Because we've got 17 drivers tonight. We've got pretty much every team. We've only got one Williams, no RRE drivers tonight. They would have only had one driver, which still would have been nice to have 18 as opposed to 17. But still, it would have literally just been 18 drivers instead. Oh God, I've just seen the drivers have just mentioned a full wet race. This is going to be horrifying. A full wet race. Timon, why are you still in the shower? Why? You're meant to be driving. Why are you in the shower? Holy. Still waiting for drivers. Nearly 2 minutes have gone by, but nobody has come out. Unless that's just me. Nobody has come out yet. This is some interesting stuff going on. And we've got our first driver coming out. It is an RB. It is AMS Eric who comes out of the pits. He's the first driver. We took a while to get there. About 2 minutes and 20 seconds. 2 minutes and 20 seconds is how long it's taken for the first driver to get out of the pits. Usually we see it within about the first 10 or 15 seconds. So usually we see it a lot earlier than we have today, but something a little bit special, something a little bit different for maybe this week. It is set to be inters in a full wet race. It's going to be an interesting one to see. Because see a couple of drivers now coming out. We've got 4 drivers. We've got Ergo, AMS Eric, Flappy Dragon, and Vortex here for TIE, all coming out now. We've got a couple more drivers on their way out. I think we've just seen Zirconium and Sergio come out. You can just see there's just so many drivers coming out now. But AMS Eric very much on his own at the moment in the on the track. Really, he's very much on his own. He's sort of 2-3 corners ahead of anybody else. He's halfway down the road already from anyone else. Let's see how this man is going to do, because he needs a good qualifying here. AMS only scored 14 points in the opening race. They need a big comeback this race. We'll have to see whether AMS Eric can be the guy to do that, because last race AMS got really unlucky with broken front wings, damage and everything. So here we go, starting off his lap, heading down towards this long snaky first section. I believe this is 3 corners. Whoa, a massive amount of oversteer on the rear as soon as he hit the curb. Now through, I think this is turn 3. This is now heading out of this first sector to end off the first sector. Very, very short first sector for this track, I must say. Only 23.9 seconds long, which versus the rest of the track is actually quite short versus the rest of the length. Yeah, I have seen. They're still racing in another 2 races. I'm sad to say that TGF are also closing, which is quite a sad thing to see. It's rather sad. Quite a good team. And there we go. There goes AMS Eric in his middle sector. Not too bad from himself. Now, opening the rear wing down the back straight. This is pretty much going to be his final proper time he'll have DRS. Let's see what AMS Eric is going to be able to produce, because, of course, it is a rather long straight. Gives you a bit of a break. Now, here comes AMS Eric into the final corner. Throws the car through. It hasn't been the cleanest of laps from AMS. It's a 1 minute 30.802. That is the first lap set by a driver. We have Vortex, who's coming up to the line next. He's a bit slower. He looks like he's a bit slower on his lap. What is he going to do when he crosses the line? It's a 1 minute 31.215, 4 tenths behind. I think that's Flappy Dragon, who just went P2. He's gone very close. 1 minute 30.821. Very strong from LR. Ergo, even faster. 1 minute 30.653. Incredibly strong lap from HRT. Zirconium slots with the 1 minute 31.198. And now AMS Sassoy, even faster, 1 minute 30.454. Sassoy returns to FRLT, and he returns with some dominance once again. He's hoping to bring that title again for AMS this season. We also saw a few other drivers. Canio going into 3rd. We saw Peck Sergio into 4th as well. So we saw those 2 go to some places. Seen Daniel go into P9 at 1 minute 31.599. Not the best of lap times set from himself. I see you goes P6, 1 minute 30.806. Not the most perfect of lap times, but it is the best that he's been able to extract for the moment. Christian's just invalidated on his lap. The next driver is actually Peck Dave, who's coming along. He's got his teammate in front of him. So we'll have to see what these guys are going to be up to. No slipstreams are allowed, remember. Slipstreams not allowed at all. Across the line, Dave goes P2. Pretty strong, but of course with that toe, if it gets reported, they might be finding themselves with a penalty for either this race or the next race. That's the risk. Yeah, I can see AMS Sasoi not being very happy about that slipstream. Not very happy. Not a very happy bunny, shall we say he is here today. Very unhappy bunny. We've now got JD Bergsma, also known as Timon, who's going to be starting his lap. Let's see how this is going to go for ABE. Currently, they're P7 and P16, hoping for an improvement by the end of this lap, hoping that they can find themselves maybe with a double top 10. They had a very good start to the season. Of course, a 1-3 finish, huge amounts of points walking their way, 41 points walked their way at the end of the opening race. Let's see how they'll do after this. Yeah, it will be incredibly nice to see Dennis. I do agree. If anybody's unsure of what this man means, in the chat, this is the team that will be replacing ETE after sadly they will be shutting down just like TGF by around the 14th. They'll be shutting down. So N3RO will be coming into the league. Now, JD Bergsma, he's not had the best of laps, but it doesn't look terrible. It's 1 minute 31.094. Does slot top 10, just ahead of one man. We've now got Vortex, who's up by a 10.5 in the first sector. This could send him up into the top 9, but he needs to find a bit more time overall in his lap. We know it was a little bit of a scruffy lap. He's improving again. Good lap coming from Vortex in the moment. Ooh, bit of sliding there from the half. Very realistic to real life. Just say Nero. Okay, Nero. Team Nero. Okay, interesting. Sounds like Aero to me, and I just think of chocolate. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'm not meaning anything. I'm just my mind wanders. Now heading into final corner. Vortex, let's see what he can do. He does improve. He finds some time, but he only goes up to P9 in the end, only slightly faster than JD Bergsma by the end of the lap. Yeah, because TGF is shutting down. Like, my God. Holy people. Runnard goes P3. Very close to Peck Dave. A 1 minute 30.617. Not bad from himself. Ergo slots into P2. We just saw that from himself. We just saw Zirconium as well jump it back up into top 10, to the top 10 there. Very strong from himself. Flappy Dragon went P8. Not bad at all. We're seeing some decent improvements, some decent lap times coming from some drivers. Got Peck Sergio coming round. And across the line he goes. P2 and whoa! That's even faster! AMS Sasoi into... He continues provisional pole. But he's done a 1 minute 30.224 at the end of his lap. Holy. TJ, please stop. TJ, please stop. Please. Christian retires from the session. Disappointment for TGF. He doesn't feel like a lap could get done. Doesn't feel like he could get much more done. Got the top two going side by side. Holy. Milan, by the way, just went P10. HRT finding themselves back in the top 10 again. Very strong start they had. Now, I see you on a lap. He's improved by near 4/10. He could be in the battle at the top of the table. This is what AB need at the moment because they're leading the constructors. If they don't get a good race in China in just round 2 of the season, you know, getting into a 5th. Yeah. Hopefully, we got some angry drivers in the chat. I'm just seeing that. I'm just seeing in the Discord chat, by the way, some really angry drivers going on. Some people very unhappy with others. And it's only qualifying. Yeah, we got some incredibly angry drivers tonight. But yeah, we could see TIE Mouthy. Oh, these names crack me up sometimes. Currently, he's on his out lap. He's the first driver to be completing his final one. He hasn't set lap. 3 drivers haven't. Mouthy, Christian, and Kirill Yasko. Here comes Mouthy coming around the hairpin. He's going to be the first driver. TIE need a big week. Currently P12 and P15 at the moment with their laps. They need to get even faster lap times. Now, starting off his lap, heading towards turn 1, throwing the car through. We're going to have to see how that Haas is going to put up with all of the steering lock and all of the pace trying to be put into that car from TIE. Going to have to see, is it a decent first sector? It's not the best for first sector. It was a bit slow in the first sector, actually. I'd say maybe 2-3 tenths off of the fastest. So he's already looking for around a 0.5 already in his lap if he can equal Sasoi. So this is really going to be a telling thing, you know, already being 3 tenths down in a grid that's split by just over 1 second. But realistically, they're split by about 8 tenths of a second at the moment from 1st to 13th. So it is very, very close. But the problem that Mouthy is going to have now is he's going to run into a lot of traffic here. This is the only problem he's going to find himself in. He's running into a huge amount of traffic that if they don't get moving, you know, he can already see them down the road. You can already, you know, he can see that they're down the road. They're heading around the hairpin. So he's now got to rush to the flag. You can see one other driver who's trying to rush to the flag is actually the man of Milan, who's also rushing to the flag. Zirconium just makes the flag. I don't think our man of Milan will. But to finish off the final lap, Malte, slowest of all, 1 minute 31.610. Milan and Kiliasko's qualifying is both over. We have an Alpine on a lap. That is a Daniel Højlund. And now, coming around, let's see what Daniel can do. TGF Daniel, he's quite a fast driver. Let's see what he can do on his lap. Somebody's slowing down on their lap at the moment. TGF need a big week at the moment. DNF, one driver's got a DNF. The other has retired from the session. This man is the only one standing. He's P14 and quite far off the pace, about 5 tenths off the pace. Across the line, he doesn't improve his position. He stays P14. You can see Vortex stays in P12. Runnard invalidated. Flappy Dragon P2. Dave P3. At the end of that, I think we've got I See You coming up to the line next. Yes, it is. It is the McLaren. He goes a bit wide there, but across the line, he's done it! I See You has done it! It's Sasoi next. Sasoi improves. He goes to provisional pole. What is going on? Pek Sergio just went P4. Cuneo just goes into P6. We've still got Eric to cross the line. Eric has failed to do his lap. And that is that. And that is all over. But the man on pole is AMS and it is Sasoi, but it is close between him and ABE. Not a bad end to qualifying here tonight. I will say that. Not a bad end at all. Difficult one from HRT. 7th and 11th. They were some of the better They were one of the best qualifying teams. RE this week, they only had one driver. They only had one driver this week, and they said that they'd rather have a full lineup for next week, which they will have as opposed to one driver. But let's go through the qualifying order. Soy is on pole for by I See You, Flappy Dragon, Pek Sergio, Pek Dave, Cuneo, Ergo, JD Bergsma, Runnard, and AMS Eric finishing out the top 10. This is then followed by Milan, Zirconium, Vortex, Daniel, Malte, Christian, and Kiliasko, who is next. It is a wet race, by the way. It is a wet race. It is a wet race, so this is going to terrorize some drivers. Some drivers are going to get terrorized by the conditions. It doesn't look too wet. It's not looking too wet tonight. It is raining. It is raining. People are so scared that it's raining. So sorry. Oh my god. Looks like some drivers have maybe bottled their tyre strategy a bit. This is interesting. People are saying dry tyres. Okay, this is confusing. You're on dry tyres. Holy. Drivers are being forced on dry tyres. Oh my god. To be fair, it isn't that wet. Like, this is mental. It was meant to be raining and they're on dry tyres. Okay. This is a suspicious game. Oh, this game is something special. This game is really something special. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to be laughing, but this game, oh my god. Oh, it does make me laugh. It does give me my time to laughter. So, I'm gonna have to see how the race is gonna go. We'll be starting very, very soon. I just made a tweet. Cold. I just made a tweet. Okay. I'll have a look at this gorgeous tweet that you've sent out. Hey, why are you reposting things? Why are you reposting things? Did you repost? Interesting. These are amazing tweet. Yeah, I've just looked at it. Amazing tweet. Cold tweet. Should be going soon. Should be going very, very soon. If drivers want to ready up or not. I don't know whether we're readying up or not. And here we are. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in China for FRLT Tier 1 in Season 3. And it is a great start from AMS Sasoi. He's gotten away incredibly well. He just walks away from the rest of the field on hard tyres, by the way. That is what he's on. He's on hard tyres. We can see the spits of rain dropping down onto the track. You can see it's a pretty strong start on the hard tyres from the man of AMS Sasoi. He's flying away from the rest of them. He's got huge amounts of grip where the others seems to be struggling. Milan is round. It looks like Milan's made a mistake further back. You see, whoa, almost 3 wide of a McLaren getting racy further back. Cuneo trying to make a move. He's trying to get past the HRT, and around the outside he goes. He's going to try and make this move work. They're still going side by side. Bit of contact, and ultimately he's going to have to stay behind for now, but he is trying to find his way back through, but he's unable to make the move. And look at that. That is JD Bergsma trying to go down the inside. Whoa, big slide. JD Bergsma, whoa, again. Another huge slide from himself. And that is something that's going to be quite interesting to see, that we're probably going to see in the stewards later on. And JD Bergsma now back up to P8 ahead of Runnid. He is sliding. Everywhere right now. It is crazy, but a great start from the man of Sasoi. You can see he leads this group down the back straight. Already a split coming in. You can already see there's 2 groups that are it's now been split into really 2 groups. And you can see some more moves. Peck Dave trying to make the move for P3 on Flappy Dragon. He's done it. He's made a move. P3 for Peck. Peck looking to take the lead of the constructors here tonight. They're really aiming for it. P3 and P5 at the moment on for 25 points, which might put them ahead. MS Eric finds himself back up into the P11 as he's now leading the small group. As you can see, Daniel now makes the move on Kirill Yasko. He's on the soft tyres, though. He has gone for the soft tyres. He's making moves up and down the field. Christian's back into the pits. Peck Dave now just trying to make the move for P2. He got past the man of Flappy Dragon a few moments ago. He's now trying to do it on the man of ICU in the McLaren. He's got... Whoa! Look at that! Taking the tight line off of the exit to get that exit speed, to get the grip. And it has worked for him. He's side by side. He's still there. The Mercedes versus McLaren. We haven't seen a lot of this in 2024 in real life, but we're seeing it here in FRLT, and onto the curb he goes. He's not going to get as best as an exit, but it is a good enough exit to find himself still side by side, and now ahead of ICU, and into P2 he goes. He's gone a bit deep though, and a few mistakes, and that's actually going to allow the man of AMS Sasoi to almost climb to a second in the lead. 9 tenths, almost 9.5 tenths. Whoa! Big slide from Sasoi. Big mistake. That's now pulled back that time all the way down. DRS still enabled. We're going to see, watching on board, that just gap closing and closing. It's a third of what it was at the start of the lap, and you can see mistakes coming in as now Flappy Dragon is trying to make the move in ICU for P3 now, and it looks like ICU's dropped another place, and ABE are just dropping back in points. Now they're only going to score 14 points at the end of the day. Now, as you can see, some drivers pitting further back, TGF and TIE, and a bit of a battle going on further back with strategy. Not sure what strategy that is that they are doing. But TGF not having a good day at the moment. They're really struggling as now Zirconia makes his way past JD Bergsma for P9. That's another point. That's 2 more points coming ETE's way. Of course, they will be leaving after round 3. Same also as TGF. They'll also be leaving after round 3 due to shutting down, which is quite sad. But Zirconium is making the best of it, and he's going to score points to at least get themselves on the board. I think he scored 4 points last race. I think they scored 5 points. Sorry, my apologies. 5 points they scored in round number 1. They're hoping to make that another 2 points, or maybe even chasing another 4 points. But their campaign is definitely not going to be short of good. And now, Sasoi, he's stuck in a bit of a problem here. He's on the hard tyres. He hasn't really gotten away from the rest of the grid. It hasn't really worked for him. Tyres-wise, of course, he's on the hard tyres. Only 3 drivers on the hard. Some drivers moving to the inters. But you can see, heading down the back straight, here comes Peck Dave. As now Peck Dave takes the lead of the race into the hairpin, and that is the lead that is most needed for Peck. You can see further back, we've got Ergo versus Peck Sergio battling over some positions. It's getting very slidey out there for some drivers, and ICU has had enough. He wants to go to the intermediates. He's done with his tyres. He wants to change over to the other set. You can also see JD Bergsman having that. Kill Yasko, by the way, getting in front of JD Bergsman at the same time. And that's a weird overtake in the pits, which is quite strange. So we didn't get to see, sadly. And into the pits he goes onto the intermediate tyres. He is going to pull out a bit further in front of JD Bergsma as well. But dropping down the order, TTRE and Kirill Yasko not looking like they're having their best of days. They didn't score any points, remember, in round 1. They are on currently for 6 points this race. Interesting. Bob the Shark. Very legendary. Bob the Shark. Cold. Now, as you can see, the top 3 have kind of gotten away from the rest. Ergo's now over a second behind Flappy. And you can see Peck Dave and Sasoi. They're all in this sort of top 3. Then it's from 4th down to 8th. Then Eric is sort of on his own along with Vortex, who's also sort of on his own. Then we got the next group further behind. We got a yellow flag. That is a driver who's round. That is actually Christian who's round. He's had a bit of a spin, and he's now down to last place, 17th and last. We haven't had any retirements, though, which is quite an interesting thing. I thought we'd be seeing some retirements by this point, at least. But we haven't seen any now, which is longer than we did last race. And now you can see Ergo, he's risking it. He thinks the inters are going to be the way to go. Where is he actually going to come out in all of this? Because he's already into the pits. He's already making his way down the pit lane. It isn't a slow pit lane either. It's 80 kilometers an hour. Some are, I believe, 50 or 60. I think some are 60 kilometers an hour. So it's a rather fast pit lane. It's not hugely long either. So at least you do get moving down the pit lane pretty quickly. Where is he going to drop out? He will be behind his teammate Milan, which is not where he wants to be. But he is still going to come out in front of Kirill Yasko and Malthy over these places. You can see some side-by-side action. But we've got to look further ahead. Runnard and Cuneo is going for it again, but Runnard's up to P5 now, and that is on for 10 points for TTRE, which is a big comeback in their title fight this season. Really what they needed. They didn't have a good first race. They're now looking at an amazing second race here. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see from now on and across this race. Lap number 5, which will soon become lap number 6 of this race. China, not the shortest of tracks. The Zirconium, by the way, gains a place on Cuneo as he goes up to P6 now. Some drivers making their way through the field incredibly easily and just sort of making it work. So Soy, by the way, returned to the lead ahead of Pep Dave. So it's an interesting sort of thing we're seeing here. AMS leading the race. They didn't have a good first race. Yes, you are, Travis. You are the best tweeter. We'll say that. You're the best tweeter. Now, as you see, heading down this long pit straight. It does seem to go for quite a while, which is quite a big chunk of the track. Cuneo now comes in. I do think we're going to see that these hard tyres could last really long. So the hard tyres last about 15 to 18 laps around this track. Sometimes, if overused, they can only last 12, between 12 to 13. But if we say 13 to 16 laps, even if Sasori makes, let's say, 14 laps on his tyre, let's say 16, he's still got to do another 12 on another set of tyres, which can be done on the mediums, by the way. There's not a huge difference. Can be done on the medium tyres. HRT making a swap. Milan down to 11th. Ergo now up to 10th. Man who's had more pace is going to be in front of his teammate. And a Ferrari switch has been made. A HRT switch has been made there. And that is an important switch because it is the one for points, because you can see how much slower Milan is than his teammate, already sitting about half a second behind since swapping places. Christian's had a bit of a moment. He's had a spin. He's having a bit of another spin again, a half spin. TGF, their Chinese Grand Prix has not been good. It's been even more disappointing for themselves since also having to shut down. The day is just not getting good for these guys at all. What I do find interesting is this charge from Runnard. He's kind of found himself up into P4 quite randomly. He's found himself up into P4. It is a quite random sort of how he's gotten himself up there, because we haven't really seen him much. We haven't really spoken about him much, but he's found himself up into this place where he could be challenging for a podium. And this is exactly what TTR need. Last time I looked at him, he was P7. Now he's P4. So we're seeing some changes. We're seeing some improvements, some changes, some important things going on for the moment. And of course, it's quite difficult to sort of establish how important this first stint will be, as Christie gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and then he decides to retire from the race. Here tonight. Disappointment. TGF suffer a retirement. Once again, quite a bit of disappointment for these guys. Now, making his way down. You can see now Sergio back up into P4. Getting past Runnard pretty quickly. But these guys still don't feel like there's a lot on the tyres to gain. But IC was definitely finding this, because he's finding huge amounts of time over drivers like Vortex. He's closed this in by seconds now, and it's being closed down quite a bit corner on corner. He's gaining quite a lot at the moment. And this is something that sometimes not every single driver gets this sort of position. They don't get to be this lucky to close in. And that's something that's going to be really important as the race does go on is sort of, can ICU sort of keep this up? Because he is slower than, he has kind of been on pace or slower than Ergo. So these two are keeping quite close together, but you can see how much he has been catching on those intermediates. You can see Vortex just allows them by, doesn't even fight it. He knows he can't fight it, would just be a waste. See ICU now chasing down the man of AMS Eric now onto the next driver. And his intermediates starting to work quite nicely, and maybe the drivers who made pit stops have actually pulled off a really good strategy here. Starting to gain some time, because it very much feels like it. And Runnard now dives it down into the hairpin. Can he solidify the move? He can solidify the move, and that is P4 done and dusted. But these guys are trying to go longer on these dry tyres. So the gaps to the leader. So yeah, so the gaps to the leader, as you can see, sits at about 17 seconds at the moment. We'll keep this up on track. I also want to say Sasoi's kind of, he started to run away with this race slightly. Now about 2 seconds off in the lead. But you can see the gaps are definitely closing, because Ergo is getting that time down. You can see that's already 16.7, already about 0.2 down off of this lap. So he's finding chunks of time in the lap, and that's just something that Fritz drivers like Sasoi don't want him to be doing. They don't want him to be finding chunks and chunks of time in the lap. Because see, in some places the HRT driver is slower, so it's not everywhere he is actually going. He is faster, because the rain's slowing down a bit. And I think we're starting to see these inters overheat and struggle. And that's why he hasn't particularly caught up to Sasoi at all. Goodbye, Travis. Good night. Have a good one. Now, when you still look at this, you still see this massive time gap, of 16.6, 16.7 seconds. And all that I noticed from this is that this lap, that's barely come down. That's barely come down. The gap between 7th and 8th is closed, but not between anyone else. And now Peck Dave decides to come into the pits. Finally, he's decided to make the switch. He thinks it's a good time to get hard tyres on. He's gone for the hard tyres. He's gone for the pit stop, showing that maybe only mediums could go about 9 laps into this race. So it's not very long. It's not very long at all. But now you can see Sasoi now has about a 6.2 second lead, which is growing. This is the whole thing that you don't exactly notice at first, is how the gap grows slowly, but you can see he's just performing a masterclass, gaining tenths and tenths over Flappy Dragon. And it's mental how much he's been gaining the last few laps. We're only about a third into the race. We'll be reaching the halfway point at some point, but you can just see 7.5 seconds. That gap is just growing and growing. This man, MS Sorsoi, put it on pole by just a small amount. But now here comes Peck Sergio. They're actually going 3 wide into the hairpin. They're going for it. Peck Sergio leads into the hairpin though. Is he going to hold on to it? Ergo retires, and it causes a virtual safety car. He's hit into the wall. He hit into the wall. What happened there? Ergo now out of the race, and an HRT bomb sort of drops for them. Now you can see Peck Sergio's coming to the pits. He's coming to the pits. He's putting on some inters. But Sasoi is deciding to stay out on his dry tyres. He's decided to stay out even longer. JD Bergman gets a 10-second time penalty for severe collision with Daniel. not helping ABE. So it's an interesting one because at the moment I'm looking at this from front to back and I'm just seeing that if AMS currently finish where they are, first and sixth, they could be climbing at the moment up into the top. They will stay top three. They will currently stay third in the constructors. And by the way, Daniel has also now retired from the race. He's also retired, third retirement of the night, down to 14 drivers. Yes, Benz. If you subscribe, I will change it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not that mean. Some drivers, Flappy and I see you going for the hard times, same as Mouthy, also. But Sassoy's out on old hards. But he has got that lead, so he could come in now. He's not going to. He's staying out. He's staying out longer. He knows that he can go even longer on these tyres. We are now under racing conditions. He's missed his chance, but he's gone for it. One driver who is impressing me is actually Runnard. Still up 7 places. Zirconium as well up 8. Kilyask up 9. Disappointing day for TGF, of course. We know they scored 10 points in the opening race. They're now going to be ending their second race with none and a double DNF. That's a better over P12. And TIE as well, not walking away well from this either. They've had a struggle, had a very sort of a massive struggle to the start of their campaign. Only 2 points scored on their way to only score 2 points in the opening 2 races. I mean, that means on average they'll that means on average they might only score 10 points during their entire 10 race campaign. But you'll have to see as the races go on now. Peck Dave making a move on ICU, and ICU down outside of the top 10. But does this mean, hang on, that means ABE aren't going to score any points yet have a finish. This is going to be interesting. Only 2 teams sit outside the top 10. 8 turned up. 1 is out, so 7 teams. So we're going to have 5 teams score points. LR are going to be scoring their first points. We're going to be seeing Peck score more points. But it's Dave really lost out here. He's down to P10. He was in the fight for a win earlier. Interesting to see nonetheless. And now here comes Peck Dave. He's going to try and make a double move. DRS still activated, trying to go down the middle. As he does, he gets past 1, he gets past Milan. Now he's trying to get past Cuneo for P8. He's trying to make that move on the title line. It's not working fully. Has he made it work? No, he hasn't. He's had to back out, and that is down to P9. But it's still on for 2 more points for Peck this evening, and on for themselves to overtake. Yes, overtake ABE. We saw Zirconium a second ago, by the way, go up to P3. He's pushing on with this race incredibly well. I will say that. He's pushing on with this race so incredibly well. On for a podium for ETE. He's really trying to make these final 3 races for ETE work. Their final 2 races here in FRLT. He's really trying to score points. They got 5 in the opening race. He's trying to get another 15 here tonight, maybe even 18. If he can get 15 here tonight, that's really going to boost their championship up. It means officially, guys, as it stands, we'll be having 3 new teams on the podium, bringing us to an ultimate of 5 different teams on the podium this season. So half the grid would have been already on the podium in the opening 2 races, which last season we didn't have. We only had... How many teams did we have? I think we only had... I think we only had 4 teams on the podium in the opening 2 races last season, so we'll have more teams on the podium than we did last season, which is quite interesting for how exciting last season was, especially. But this might be changing things up. ABE, very dominant start. They took that win in the opening race, very much how TTRE are currently dominating fours with back-to-back victories so far. They're miles off in the lead of the constructors in fours, but I'm kind of seeing this with ABE slightly here, that they pulled off away a bit. They got to 12 points. They got to 10 points ahead of Peck. They got to 10 points ahead of Peck, and they kind of got this small lead. It's quite a big lead to start the season, and now they're going to lose all of that. They're actually going to go down to second in the constructors, which isn't great. Milan now up to 9th. He gets ahead of Cuneo. I see you. His day's gotten miserable. He's down to P11. JD Bozeman P12. TIE and AB, 2 of the teams that scored points last time round won't be scoring points. And 2 of the teams that are going to be scoring points, 3 teams that didn't score points last race are going to be scoring points. 4 actually that becomes, with LR, HRT, TTRE as well. So we've got 3 or 4 teams, got quite a lot of drivers for the moment. As now Peck Dave moves up to 7th in this race ahead of AMS Eric. But the gap in the lead is closing massively at the moment, down to 16.4 seconds, gained about 9 seconds so far. Is this a waiting game? Is this going to work for Sasoy? I don't know whether it's going to work for him, because the gap is just closing and closing. But now we can see Peck Dave is chasing Kirill Yasko for P6 in this race. Peck want to take the lead of this constructors. The minute they take the lead of the constructors, it'll be pure dominance. I think Vortex has had enough for his day. He has retired. That is it for himself. He is done with his day here tonight. But as you can see, that's disappointing. Another team suffers a retirement this season. Another team disappointing for TIE. Whoa, that's Cuneo all over the place in the background. We saw further back, all over the place. And that's allowed ABE to catch back up again, and ICU possibly to score a point. But we'll have to see, because it's slightly wet, but it's not that wet at the moment. Now, Peck Sergio has gone for P3. It looks like Peck will be back on the podium again. We won't be getting a fresh 3 teams on the podium here tonight, which would have been interesting to see. But still, ET will gain 12 points at least from tonight. Now as they head around, this is what it's all about. It's about the mind games. It's about playing your cards right. And I will say here that Peck and ET with Zirconium have both played their cards incredibly well, and that's just allowed them to streak off into the lead without a problem. Still, we will see as the race continues into the final 12 laps, coming down to 11 soon. As we've surpassed the halfway mark, now the laps are starting to crumble. We're going to get closer to 75% into tonight's race. As Zirconia makes his way back past for P3, I think we're going to be getting some DRS sort of games going on here. Cuneo makes another mistake. He spins it. He's got wing damage now, and he's down to P12, and it's disappointing for LR. But it does allow AB to climb back up into the point. P10, the moment 1 point on for chance for AB here tonight. Means they will be scoring less than most teams right now. Milan moves up to P8 ahead of AMS Eric. And AMS Eric down another place, down to P9. Their last lowest finish was P10, which was in the finale of season. Finale of season number 2. And that was their lowest finish this season from one of their drivers. Their absolute lowest finish they've had this in their entire time in FRLT. They've never sustained a double DNF. They've never sustained a lower finish than P10 other than a DNF. But the man who is in AMS and who currently leads this race by 12.5 seconds, it's not raining as much as it was, but he leads by 12.5 seconds. He's the man in first place, AMS the Soy. Absolute dominance coming from himself here. He's led for, I believe he's led for 17 of the 18 laps here. He's led solely for the last 17 out of the 18 laps of this race, which is just pure dominance. Only, I think, once did another driver cross the line in front of him. Which is crazy that he'll finish this lap and go, I've led so much of this race. He might lead at this rate. He might actually lead 27 out of 28 laps of this race. But he has still got to stop. And this is the one problem. He has got to stop in this race, which he hasn't done yet, which is an interesting strategy he's got going on, because he's currently sitting he's sitting there in P1, the only driver yet to have stopped in this race. Yellow flag. It is Cuneo who's hit into the wall. LR facing some disappointment. And Cuneo retires from the session. Another retirement here tonight. 5th retirement of the night. Pretty disappointing. But you could see Soy isn't losing as much time as he was. And he's still leading this race by a really large margin. He still finds himself like 2 corners ahead. Which is an interesting amount. And it's interesting to see how, the gap is closed by 13 seconds. By just over 13 seconds now. But because he's been so consistent and so good, it's worked out for him. As now, Zirconium is coming into the pits, by the way. Zirconium feels like pit stop will help him. Same as Kill Yasko. What tyres are they going to? I want to see what tyres they're going to be going to for now. They're going to another set of Inters. That's odd. Maybe he wasn't happy with the grip, but he does find himself down in P9, now chasing ICU, and far, far away from P3 at the moment, very far away. But it should make him a bit faster by the end of the day. It should make it a lot easier for him to finish this race, and at least for ET to pick up some points at the end of the day. Yeah. So, as we watch Zirconium make his way round, we've got to look at this battle over P2 going on. Peck Sergio has caught up to Runnard for P2. We might be having a 3-team podium going on over here with this lot. We might be seeing that happen very, very soon. It's like I see you in the next corner or two is going to drop down a place, back down to P9. here tonight. Pick Sergio. Look at how much braver he is on the brakes. Yeah, the Inters do die quite quickly on this year's game. They're quite slow. They struggle quite a bit. It's now Runnard, by the way, goes into the pits. He's decided he's done. That allows Pek Sergio to be in some free air. They haven't gained anything on AMS Soy in the last lap. See, Pek Dave goes into the pits. He feels like it's time to go in. So some strategy coming from the teams here that, you know, they know that they need to go in. They need to make these changes now rather than later. And that's sort of, I think, an important thing to look at is that teams are having to sort of take a bit of a guess when it comes down to where they're going to be. Yellow flag. I think that's JD Bergsma who's had a bit of a moment. He's dropped down even further, 20 seconds behind Malfi, which is an interesting one. As Runnard now goes up to P7, JD Bergsma retires from the session. Runnard now up to P7 and ahead. He's on dry tyres. Zirconium going to the Inters. Was that a smart move or was it not? We'll have to see. Because the dry tyres seem to maybe be slightly faster now. They might be slightly faster. And now a bunch of drivers are now going into the pits, including AMS Eric. He goes into the pits. He's going to another set of Inters. There's some mixed strategy on this. Nobody seems to be perfectly clear. Kirill Yasko on the Inters still. But then there's drivers like Runnard who've gone to the mediums who feel like he's stronger. So I don't know. I don't know now. Who's going to be doing what? We're now 3/4 into this race. 3/4 into the race here tonight. But yeah, so it's weird to see such a massive lead. You know, 18 seconds down the road, he's kind of having a bit of, you know, it's the sort of, this man is having kind of an easy day. He hasn't even had to stop yet, and he's just having this sort of incredibly easy day. He's finally going to go into the pits in this race. Finally, Soy has waited long enough. He's gone for 21 laps on those old, hard tyres. 21 laps now completed. Where is he going to come out? He should come out ahead of Zirconium, realistically. He should come out ahead of Zirconium, but we'll have to see because he won't come out in front of Flappy, who's on those hard tyres. But we'll have to see because Zirconium's going to be a lot closer than he was. Yeah, you can see he's literally just a few seconds down the road. He's maybe 2-3 seconds away. Yeah, not far. But yeah, still, you can see now for Soy, he's now chasing the lead again. Can Flappy Dragon hold on to this lead? Can he hold on to this lead without losing it? Because if he does that, if he holds on to the lead and doesn't lose the lead and wins, that'll be a massively impressive day for LR to come out with a victory. On their Tier 1 debut. It would be incredible. It'd be incredible to see. Generally, you would. Just amazing. He's closing in quite a bit. 2 seconds, by the way, that's gone down to now. So the gap it's just decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. So I don't think it's, I don't know anymore. I don't know. This race has been crazy, but Germany has been one of the most crazy races I've ever seen. But Sasoi is chasing the win, 5 laps to go. Corner on corner, he is just waiting. Every meter counts for him. Every, mile or kilometer is counting for Sasoi. It is going by rather quickly as he does fly down and around. He is flying around the track. He's incredibly fast. He's about on pace with Zirconium, by the way. But he sees that Sauber in front. He wants to get that Sauber. He wants to get that LR car. And he's gaining huge amounts, but he's got to be careful here. He can't make a single mistake. A single mistake might fall him back and allow, for instance, Zirconium or Runner to catch right up to the back of him, and then that will really risk his chances for the win. He's now within a second. This might all change at the moment. This might completely change. Now heading round the long right-hander around the outside. AMS Sasoi is trying to go on the man of Flappy Dragon. He does it. AMS Sasoi retakes the lead here in China with a massive gap further back. 5.6 seconds now in the lead, and that is growing, and that is an incredible retake of the lead here tonight. That's the retake that really the man of Sasoi needed. He really needs to retake that lead. But now Flappy Dragon does have DRS on him. It's not keeping up too badly, to be honest. Flappy Dragon has a little bit more pace than expected because he's actually keeping up through the corners quite a bit more than I thought he would. So it's an interesting few moments we're seeing here between the drivers. Now we watch and we wait to see how AMS Sasoi can do in this final few laps. 4 laps remaining. The laps are counting down. The meters are counting down. The kilometers, the miles are slowly and almost painfully for Sasoi in this case counting down because he has to go a lot longer. ICU has just gone into the pits. This might mean no points for ABE and disappointment coming their way. It has for TGF. It has meant that for TGF, for instance, this week, no points coming their way. Double DNF. Pretty shocking with double DNF. First time points scoring teams, by the way, tonight. The drivers in that area, P2, P4, P6, P7, and P4 places of the top 10 held by new point scorers. Sasoi just set the fastest final sector. Only a few laps remaining. He's already got to the 4-second lead. Crazy. Sometimes, I've noticed this, sometimes you get quiet races like this where drivers, at the start of the race there is chaos. The first 5 laps is complete and utter chaos. But then the rest of the race seems to sort of calm down and, there's not a lot happens. I believe everybody is on intermediates, if I stand correct. No, we've got Flappy Dragon on hards, Runnard on mediums, and Mouthy on hard tyres as well. But yeah, you kind of run into scenarios like this, where you have where you have teams who are so incredibly consistent and so incredibly good and struggle to make mistakes. Some drivers just really struggle, like Sasoi. Hasn't made a single mistake. Zirconium, not a single mistake. Sergio, Runnard, Kirill Yasko, Milan, Dave, haven't made any mistakes. But there's a slow car in the middle sector. That is actually AMS Eric who's going slow. Another rough day for Eric. Nothing going his way. Currently, he's P9. Only on for 2 points. Only gaining AMS 2 points. So at the moment, they're only set to score, I believe, that will be 28 points at the end of their day. But to add that on, it's 42 points at the end of the day. It is 42 points they're currently walking away with at the end of this race. They will walk away with a massive 42 points. And find themselves, by the way, level with ABE. Level with ABE. Now you can see a bit of a change of position. Sergio has gone past Zirconium. One thing I have noticed, only Kirill Yasko has actually gotten a penalty from track limits. Only him. No one else has actually gotten a penalty from track limits, which is a surprising thing that I didn't expect to really see today. Really, I did not see myself, I didn't see the grid getting a penalty, but one driver does, and that's Kirill Yasko, which is going to drop him back to P7 at the end of the race. But mistakes are mistakes, and drivers do have to improve on them. I think we've got a move happening further back. It is Milan trying to get past Kirill Yasko, the man that we've just been talking about, heading down this back straight with all the speed he's got. He's trying to use the ice. Malfi now becomes the second driver to become victim to the track limit warnings. Milan now up to 6th and pushing for HRT, on for 8 points for them here today. Some strong points to start off their season after a rough round one. But Sasoi leads by near on 10 seconds now in this race. He's a good old 2-3 corners. He's 2 or 3 corners ahead of everyone else right now, which puts him absolutely miles ahead. He's all the way down the road. Drivers can't even see him on track. The fact that Sasoi has gotten such a lead is crazy. It is crazy. I just find it interesting. I just find it really interesting to see how this man has led so much to this race. He's led, I believe, he hasn't led 5 laps of this race. I think he hasn't led for 5 laps altogether, just 5 laps of this race. Meaning by the end of this race, by the end of lap 28, he would have led for 23 laps. Sergio, by the way, Peck Sergio fighting. Look at this. We've got a big battle on for the podium. Whoa, some lag coming from drivers coming in. Runner down the inside. He cuts the corner. He actually swings it on the corner. Drops him down. Flappy Dragon also dropping down places. We can see a bit of lag hitting it for some drivers. Sasoi is onto the final lap. But look at this. Everybody is everywhere. Mental stuff is going on. You can see quite a bit of lagging from drivers happening. And now, Kirill Yasko 3 wide into the next corner. Whoa! Oh my god, the lag from some drivers is really awful right now. It's gone really bad. You see, look at this. I don't know whether it's me or it's not. I have no clue. I don't think it is me. I have no clue. And still, you could just see they're just flying through the sectors now. Zirconium, by the way, he's gotten incredibly lucky from this. He's actually found himself back up onto the podium. He really got away well from that. I think it's Milan who's lagging quite a bit. But who knows? Coming round. See Zirconium making his way around on for an ETE podium. At least they'll be taking a podium before the team shuts down. It's F1 side of the team. But we've got to watch this battle as we head down the back straight once again for the final time. I think Zirconium is safe from Milan if he saved up his ERS. If he's going to charge, he is going to charge for that P2. He wants that P2 finish. He's going to open his rear wing. He's using everything he's got. Heading down. He's a bit too far back, but we've got to look to the final corner, and it is Sasoi who wins in FRLT once again in China in FRLT Tier 1 Season 3 round number 2, and that is a win for AMS, and they count another as the team with the most wins ever in FRLT, the top team. And you could see the order cycling through. Peck do make it onto the podium once again, but all interesting things have now happened. We're just waiting for Eric Malthy, who, by the way, Malthy got ahead of ICU again. So no points for ABE, by the way. No points on the table for ABE here tonight. Disappointment, no points on the table. Yes, you did, Bob. Bob the Shark. Yes, you did. You did predict the future. What an It was almost a walk in the park for Sasoi, by the way. It was almost a walk in the park for him because he's led 20, I believe it's 23 or 22 laps of the 28. He's made it clear and easy. Crazy race. Crazy race. Crazy start. Okay. He went for fresh enters, but it didn't pay off in the end. And his race is now done. And no points for ABE, which means officially, if I'm correct, AMS overtake ABE. But now we're going to look at the end of the race results. From pole to victory, it's been perfect. ICU did get fastest lap, stole it from Sasoi, but it is 25 points going his way. Sergio finishes second, followed by Zirconium from 12th to 3rd. What a day. Ultimately, he's my driver of the day. I'm going to say driver of the day. Milan, 4th. Runnard, 5th. Flappy Dragon in 6th. Kirill Yasko in 7th. Dave in 8th. Eric in 9th. And Malthy finishing out the top 10 in the points paying positions. And I see you in 11th and last, followed by his teammate. All these are the retirees, by the way. JD Bergsma, Cuneo, Vortex, Daniel, Ergo, and Christian. What a day it was. What a day indeed. Oof. Racing went off the scale there, I must say. But in the end, it is the end of tonight's stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. It means a lot for us here in FRLT to show the support. Also click on the notification bell to know about all the content we do, because we do a lot of content, from shorts to videos to streams like this. Make sure to check us out. Also, make sure to check out our lovely affiliates, SRC. The link should be down below if it isn't. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Next week, we'll be going to a bit of a different track next week. We'll be going to, of course, the track of Singapore. We stay in Asia, but we go for a tighter and twistier and much more difficult track of Singapore. Then we'll be going to Vegas before Christmas. Then we'll be having a winter break, followed by Monza, Austria, Britain, and Kota for another break week where we go to the final 2 races in Abu Dhabi and Belgium to finish off the season. Ultimately, thank you guys so much for watching. please think about subscribing, leaving a like. I hope you guys have enjoyed it here today. And I'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye.